Raleigh. Robert Courts, citizen reporter, coming to you on the YBY network. I'm proud to have an exclusive interview today. Christina Jones, District D Councilwoman. Christina, thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I am so excited. You are the epitome of local, if you don't mind me saying, right now. You've run a fantastic campaign. You've won the city council seat for District E, and I appreciate you allowing the YBY network to have this exclusive.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So I guess my first question, Christina, is what in the world were you thinking when you decided to run for city council? Are you insane?
Yes. Yes, I am. But that insanity started out of a love for the city. In 2016, I had an infant and a newborn, and they were only 15 months apart.
Ooh, you are crazy.
And I was a stay-at-home mom that said, oh my God, I need more things to do. And I started going to community conversations. And those conversations were discussions with police department.
Oh.
And the police department said, well, if you want to be involved, have you heard about CACs? And I was like, come again? What is a CAC? And they said they're called Citizens Advisory Councils, and they bring you information from the city to pass along to your neighborhoods. So I said, oh, yeah, I want that. And I said, well, let me get my neighborhood together because we did not have an HOA.
Right.
So I had to create a homeowners association, but not HOA. So like a Westboro neighborhood association is what we were calling.
Right. Within the Raleigh footprint.
Right.
Yes.
And I got to register that neighborhood with the city.
Nice.
And I was given a lot of information, but with that, I joined the CAC. So my job as the president of that organization was to bring back information from CACs to my neighbors. We had, before I joined that, we had a new sheets built on over on Glenwood.
Yes.
And the neighbors were not very happy at first. We love it now. I can't deal without my sheets. But, but we wanted a way to learn about this stuff before it had already happened. And so I said, well, let me take that on. Let me bring that information back.
So it was just an advocacy.
Exactly.
You and your friends, your neighbors had some information that they wanted to gather, and you just volunteered and said, I'd be that person.
I said, I'm a stay-at-home mom. I got time. I got the time. Let's do it. And so I did. And through that, I learned about Raleigh Neighborhood College.
It's very cool.
It's an amazing program. And that led into Citizens Leadership Academy. Because my class, we were so tight-knit. It was in 2017, so pre-pandemic.
Nice.
We got to hang out. They gave us food every time.
Yeah,
and there was so much extra food that I started bringing it to the fire department afterwards. So I would bring all the extra stuff and I would go to my station, shout out to Station 23 and 17, because those are my stations.
Mine's 6.
And I wanted to bring them food. You know, we had learned in there that they had to pay for their own food. And I was like, no, I want to be that. I want to help you eat better and all that. So we did that. And because we were so tight-knit, going back to the class, we were able to move as a class to the Citizens Leadership Academy that next fall. And through there, after going to the CACs for a few months, I said, you know what? I want to run it. I want to be in charge. And so I ran. Being part of that class, I said, you know what, let's take on that next step. And I won. I won that and became the chairperson for the Northwest CAC, which is the largest CAC in the entire organization. Did I know what I was doing? No. But I said, I want to make this fun. I want to make this for everyone.
Well, that's so much like the small businesses and nonprofits that I'm always touting. Is it simply starts with a passion, a little bit of curiosity, and a sentiment that I can do a little bit better. So that spark really fired you up into the CACs, didn't it?
Oh my gosh, yes, it did. And after spending a few years and learning about all of the concerns throughout the entire district, because it pretty much mimics District E, the Northwest CAC, I was asked to run for the chairperson role for the entire organization. So we had 19 at the time, now we have 18 CACs. But there's a leadership called the Raleigh Citizens Leadership Academy. I'm messing up all those. Raleigh Citizens Advisory Council. And that's a leadership from each of our CACs.
I see.
And so I was asked to be the chair of that. And in 2019, I got to be the chair, and I was really excited. I still had young ones at home, was working a little bit part-time at the time, but absolutely loved being able to interact with residents on a monthly basis and bring them information about rezonings, about their water bill, about all the fun things too, arts
Right.
and parks and everything.
Well, that's such a great example of how you could get involved. And Raleigh has the Citizens Academy. They have all these ways to learn how to get involved with the city, who does what, so that apparently it was infectious.
It was. I wanted to keep learning, which was really exciting that I was given all these other opportunities to continue that learning. But then in 2020, CACs were dismantled by the previous council, and it was my first. There was always rumblings about it, you
Right.
know. They were like, "Oh, they're gonna get rid of us," and I was like, "No, no, 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 no." And then it happened, and I really had to take a role and go, "Oh my gosh, whoa, this is impactful because it's taking away our voice. It's taking away our ability to connect." My role, I wanted to be that conduit of information, and now my role was eliminated. And I felt a little helpless, you know,
Right.
what are we going to do? And that's in February. Then March happened and the world shut down.
Right.
And we all had to go virtual. And as we're trying to figure out how to do life and trying to figure out how to keep that resident voice alive, I could really only focus on the RCAC. You know, how can I impact and empower my
Right.
leaders,
Your backyard, if you will.
my backyard, to help them continue their work, you know, in this virtual world that we
Right.
were all living in. So it was a little rocky, you know, I mean, it's still a little bumpy as we come out of that 3 years later. But it was a learning experience. I said to myself, Christina, if you're going to be the leader of this organization, how are you going to learn? You can't just live on your own what you know, the little bit that you know,
Right.
and think that you can run the organization. So I joined the Parks Board. I joined the Community Engagement Task Force with Mickey Fern. I helped hire the new Community Engagement Manager. I was helping
Is that
hire.
Taisha?
Yes,
She's
that
great.
is. Isn't she
I love her.
fantastic? She's awesome. Definitely the best. We had amazing candidates. We had 6 amazing candidates, but she was definitely awesome, and really glad that she's with us now.
She's local produce.
I know, right?
Yeah, been born right here in Raleigh.
Born here, went to Winston,
Yeah.
did a lot of work, and now she's back.
Yes.
So we got to take her back.
We got some great staff. We really do.
We do.
Yeah.
We're staff all around. Same thing happened with Mr. Evan Raleigh, who is our assistant city manager. He's from Winston as well, so we got to steal both of them. So I feel a little bad for Winston, but really great for Raleigh.
Yes. They'll be fine.
Yeah, they're fine. But yeah, so that's how I began, you know, and throughout the 2.5 years that we were dismantled as an organization, it's really how do we learn to continue that conversation. And believe me, there were months where I would start that Zoom meeting and be like, what are we doing, guys? Oh my gosh, what are we doing? And they would inspire me to keep going. You know, no, Christina, we're having these conversations, we're learning, and this whole world has changed. So give yourself a little slack.
Yes.
And I had to constantly, I was like, oh my gosh, thank you. So they were such a support system for me to help me keep going as I was personally going through virtual school with my kids and trying to get them back into it, and how do I deal with that?
Right.
But I always had this safety net
Right.
of conversation that I can kind of forget about what I was going through and realize that there were other people who needed help too. It was a great, amazing organization that I was able to help amplify and uplift throughout this crazy time period for us. So come through January of 2021, I said, man, I need to go the next step. I joined all these boards and commissions. I said, I need to make sure that I'm talking, because I wasn't being able to talk to
Right.
council. And so I said, you know what? I am going to go to public comment every single meeting so that they can't say they didn't hear from
Right.
me. And so I did. I committed to that. And in January of 2021, I started. And the last one was November 15th of 2022. So about 1.5 years later, and it was a total of 44 times.
Right. So that's 2 meetings a month.
2 meetings a month.
Right.
Yep.
And what was your goal? What were you trying to express when you went to those meetings?
I mean, I think it transitioned over time. The initial goal was to get questions answered.
Okay.
Was for me to say, hey, what is your relationship with the boards and commissions?
So let me see if I got this right. So you start with just some interest, right? You educate yourself. You avail of all the opportunities to learn. You volunteer. You move up. And you were like, okay, now that I'm a semi-expert in what I'm doing, how then do I engage in the next level?
Exactly.
All right. And then what was your response?
Nothing. I was not getting anything. I wasn't getting any responses from council. And so I was a little bit confused at first, because the goal was for me to just go ask questions. And I thought we would have this conversation.
Right.
But public comment is not set up for that. It's set up to be a place for you to speak and for them to move on. And I guess after a few times, I assumed that there would be some interest in the fact that I wasn't stopping. You know,
Right.
Here's this.
It's one thing if you say it once, right, but you were.
When I committed to going every single time and letting them know I am the representative for CACs,
Right.
and I want you to know what's happening. So if there was something going on in a specific unit, I'd bring that up. If there was a question that I had about what is the role, what is the difference between at-large and city and district council,
Right.
you know, and I wasn't getting any responses, then it turned to like, okay, well then I'm just gonna make statements. I'm just gonna say what I think,
Right.
and we'll just keep rolling with that. And that went on for, another year, and then we came back in person just this past spring. And
Right.
so once we were back in person, I was like, wow, this is gonna be great. I'm gonna be there.
Now I'm gonna get heard.
Now I'm
Yeah.
gonna I thought.
Yeah.
You think. And then it didn't. It wasn't I wasn't being responded to. So spring of this year, after spending over a year not being responded to, I said, well, I want to do that different, because if I were a counselor, I would respond.
Right.
I would find out and make sure, especially if someone was coming repeatedly and saying the same things. And so I decided I wanted to run. A really funny story is I'm a substitute teacher because I picked that up, and I was subbing at Enloe High School.
Oh, nice.
And right when I was trying to decide, I'm with juniors and seniors in the video production program. And I'm telling them, I said, hey guys, I think I want to run for council. And I thought they'd be like, okay, whatever. But they weren't. They were like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. And they really inspired me to announce. And so while I was subbing one day when they're doing their morning news and stuff, I was like, okay, and go live. Oh my God, it's real. Here we go. I am actually running. Oh my God. I got the cheering, the clapping, and we had conversations with 17 and 18-year-olds
Yes,
who knew about this
Oh my
stuff.
gosh, yes.
They are the ones that saying the city's being gentrified. This is going. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is great. And so they helped me really launch the campaign. And actually, some of them were at my win, the party on election night.
That's incredible.
I mean, it's amazing to have that kind of impact where then they're still part of my life,
Yes.
which is amazing. So that's what inspired me to run. I mean, there's many different facets of things that I've done, but I'm really excited to be here.
Well, it's just an amazing grassroots, doing for all the right reasons. You've been this conduit as the voice of the people. You've not at any time forgotten that you're here to serve. And if I hear you correctly, what you're saying is the number one aspect of this service comes in community engagement. If you're not hearing what Raleigh wants and serving the people of Raleigh, you're going to miss the mark.
Definitely. I think that it is the foundation of my campaign, my biggest platform, because I think everything comes out of community engagement. Whether it's housing, whether it's about housing affordability or police pay or whatnot, it's about talking to the community and saying, guys, what do we want to see for our future? This isn't that we have 8 people on council who say, this is what we're going to do because it's what I want to do.
Right.
It's about us having conversations with the community saying, you elected me to represent you.
Right.
So I want that voice heard. Let's have this discussion. And there's going to be disagreements. There's going to be things that you want to do that person doesn't want to do. But if we set up a place and a platform for you guys to discuss,
Right.
and for me to listen, now it's a conversation. And it's you're learning something and you're learning something, and we're coming to the best solution for the biggest group of people.
That's fantastic. That's very encouraging for me when I talk to you, Christina, is that you want, as much as possible, the solution to come from Raleigh.
Yes.
Right? We can steal ideas, we can go anywhere to get the facts that we need, but it's the citizens of Raleigh.
Yes.
And I'm particularly tickled how you have reached out to the local. You seem to have a real natural affinity for local businesses.
Love it. I'll tell you another funny, cute little story. I was at a Raleigh Chamber event where they were introducing new elected officials, and one of the questions was, what's the best thing in your district? And there's great things about every district, from just the fact that in District E we go from Old Raleigh, which I would say like 5 points, and down on that edge of town, and then you go up Glenwood to Briar Creek, and you have the newer. So
Right.
you can really see the history of Raleigh just on Glenwood Avenue.
It's like a biopsy almost. Yeah.
Right? And so I said that. I said, but really, I'm at the chamber, and I want to say what I feel the best thing about my district is fresh ice cream. Fresh ice cream down on Glenwood
yes.
Drive.
Excellent choice.
Oh my gosh. If you haven't had the Carolina Crunch, it's amazing. Please try it out. I actually just upped on my weekly indulging just a few days ago. But from that meeting, we had like maybe 200 or 300 people there, and now people who are contacting me, I just had a meeting with a guy from AT&T, and they said, do you want me to bring you fresh ice cream? And I was like, always. Please always bring me fresh ice cream. But I love local business. It's where I launched the campaign, was at Fresh, because this is where people are, and I want to meet people where they are.
Well, that's it's a delight. It's an inspiration. If you had one ask, if you wanted to reach out to not only your constituents in District E, but all the citizens of Raleigh, Christina, what would you want to ask?
I think the biggest ask, and coming from experience of what I've just shared with my personal experience and how I got here, I really want you guys to be involved in however you can, whether that's emailing your counselors, coming to city council. I know sometimes those meetings are dry, I get it, but it's so important because these are where the big decisions are made. I want to hear your voice. I want to make sure that you are represented. We, as a group, are trying to do, specifically in District E, more District E meetings. I want to see you there. I want to meet you. I want to hear your story, because all of that blended together is what makes Raleigh great.
Raleigh citizen reporter Robert Courts coming to you with our newly elected City Councilwoman Christina Jones, who is encouraging you to reach out. Join us at the meetings, join us at retreats, come on down. And remember that everything you need is in your backyard. Wave them out.